Hey everybody, Leo from Life's Rolling On. Today we're going to install the CMT composite carbon fiber front fender on the BMW 1300 GS Adventure. Stay tuned. All right, let's get to it. Reading a few things. So, not that the shape is bad. I'm not just a fan of this plasticky look. Again, we've said this before. If you're running an enduro bike, if you're out bashing and you're using crash bars to keep rocks off the boxer engine, it's perfect. I'm using my bike, my GS, as a sport tourer. So it's somewhere in the middle of an XR1000 GS 1300, trying to come up with a cool customized version of that. Or if you just like carbon fiber like a lot of us do, maybe you'll understand. So we talked about that, the M1000RR or the XR, the carbon fiber fenders on those bikes, the XR and the 1000RR, are just super cool looking. In the Harley world that I used to have, very common for carbon fiber. You know, they did carbon fiber fenders, bags, tanks, full of, you know, dresser fairings. So it's super cool. You could take it a level further and then paint over it, which is crazy. But the idea is the carbon fiber sees through the paint, you know, as a graphic. So carbon fiber helmets, it's everywhere now, and it's definitely cool. So we wanted to bring it to the GS. So let's talk about CMT. So based out of Italy, there's a few carbon fiber companies in the market that are fantastic. There's, you know, quite a few, and then there's quite a few that are not fantastic. So we'll talk about how to know what you're buying. One of the things I wanted to do is try a couple different brands, and I'm usually not that guy. So what I mean by that is, if you catch me wearing Nike trainers, I definitely have Nike socks. I'm not wearing Adidas socks and Nike trainers. I'm very brand loyal, and I like certain things that are paired together. Now that being said, CMT, and they were my choice. I was aware and used CMT products in motorsports in the dirt bike world, and I sold their products. So I think the fit and finish is fantastic. Now that being said, there's Ilmberger, there's Iasca, I believe, but I don't want to mess up their name. There's quite a few that are out there, DBK. They all make different versions. So a couple things to think about if you mix brands, okay? And the reason I'm going to mix brands is I'm paying for this. I'm not sponsored, and none of this was given to me. So a lot of this is what I can afford. And also I'm super picky. So whether it's fender shape or weave or gloss, or in this case with CMT, I was very happy with how their product is built, and we'll talk about that. But staying on the line of mixing and matching, CMT doesn't make carbon fiber handguards, and that's something that I'm going to change on the bike. And CMT made a really cool engine plate guard, which we're going to change, and they also make an awesome fork tube protector, lower triple clamp protector. So I was excited to get that whole system. Today we're just doing the fender. Next video we will take off these reflectors, and then we're going to install the rest of the carbon fiber. So it'll go in order. So I hope you stay with me and watch and see the end result. CMT is based out of Italy. They are a global shipper, so they sell all over the world. I bring that up because as I've gotten through parts on this bike, not every bike, not every part you can get, well, I should say get and easy. Between tariffs, customs, some countries don't ship to other countries, for instance, to the US. It is what it is. So in this particular case, they ship everywhere. They do take PayPal and they take MasterCard and Visa. So if you have those forms of payment, it should be no problem for you. Few things on quality with these guys, and I am reading, so you know me, I use my notes all the time. So what I really liked out of this particular brand is their fit and finish was second. So second to none. I was really looking forward to the gloss on this fender and the weave pattern. So we talked about mix and matching. Sometimes your weave pattern, I want my weave, in this particular case, it's 45 diagonal. I want it to match if pieces are near it. So if you look in your house or think about your cabinets in your house, wood grain has, you know, the grain pattern needs to match and go in certain ways, or drags your eyes from where it should be looking, in carpets and patterns that way as well. One of the hobbies that I like is photography, so I'm very in tune to patterns and grains. because it drags your eye all over the image you're trying to shoot. So that's what it's important to me. Most importantly though was the quality. Second from there, it would be, I am a fan of the autoclave process, and I also like when they use a high quality either powder coat clear or paint clear. We'll take a quick second to talk about what's the difference between good and bad carbon fiber or cheap. And I know there's a lot of people, and hey, whatever you can afford, I'm 100% with that. I understand that. But let me educate you, and it was just how I was educated. If you look at the bottom of carbon fiber, good carbon fiber, and I'll put it on the camera here, you can see a rough finish as well as the grain and the weave. When this finish inside is typically smooth, unless the brand advertises and you'll pay for it, that they gloss the inside. Sometimes it will have a raw looking fiberglass finish where you'll see the strands, because carbon fiber is a cloth. And you will also want to make sure that you don't see a bunch of patchwork on the bottom, because that means they're filling in. It's not one sheet, or it's not an autoclave process that basically heat shrinks it into its form. The reason that's important is this rigidity of this fender will take a hit, and it mimics this hard, the plastic that the factory uses. So it's just something to think about. Also, those mounting points where your fasteners go through, when they're tabbed, if they're not bonded, or you can see whether it's resin or they're built up properly, you can kind of see when they're durable. You'll know this fender will bolt on good. So that's something to think about, just a lesson, or if you ever run across it, think about that. Material quality, cut, lamination, finish being top notch. Those were my main key points, and they hit it out of the park. I got it incredibly fast. In this particular case, the parts I ordered came to the US free shipping. That doesn't mean free tariffs or free, it was just free freight. And that was because I ordered over $500 US of product. And so what that story means is if you potentially are going to order multiple pieces, maybe it'd be better for you to save up and get them in one shot, because the nickel and diming of the freight isn't so bad. It's the 3-4 times of the tariff or the customs that can be a problem. So just something to think about. Lots of cool carbon out there for the GS. So whether I've seen Hillenberger probably makes every piece. One of my biggest things I would love to get is the vents all done. A lot of money. It's about $1,200 a side. Don't know if I see that in the future, but we'll see. Something exciting though. Fantastic customer service. So I added something, and the reason I point out the little details, it's no different than if you go to fast food or a restaurant, somebody treats you outstanding, and sometimes you tell people the customer service more than the food. In this particular case, I added a telelever protector, which is going to go right here. And for those of you not familiar with a telelever, this is your telelever off your suspension. And they make various protectors that bolt to these two fender bolts that protect that joint. There's billet aluminum, there's other plastic. You see the more popular ones on Amazon and AliExpress that say GS. I've noticed everybody loves to bolt on anything with the word GS. There's lots of different ones, but for me, I noticed they made this same kit in with a carbon fiber telelever protector. So again, we're going to put that on in a separate episode, but the moral of the story was I was able to reach out across the world. They took very good care of me. They included that, repackaged my box so it was all coming at one time, and then communicated between email and on social media, on Instagram, exceptionally well. So big kudos for those guys for being a small workshop and being able to be reachable almost at any point. Global shipping we mentioned, and then the formal payments, again, PayPal, MasterCard, and Visa. So if you have any of those, you should be able to successfully purchase and ship to you. All right, let's talk about, we talked about pro tip about how to tell between good and bad carbon fiber. Let's move on to the fun stuff. Not a lot of difficulty in this switch over. One tool needed. We're going to use a T25 Torx. I'm using my handy little icon with the extension. You have 4 bolts, 1 on each fork lower, and then 2 on the top. We're gonna pull this fender. Not a lot of discussing through that, then we'll swap it out. Let's get to work. I'm gonna get everything loosened up first, and then I'll pull it off. And I'll do the opposite side just because of my camera last. I will loosen these top ones almost all completely rather than have it drop. We're pulling these tops off, and then we're gonna roll this fender forward. All right, so simply I'm just gonna grab it here and we're gonna roll it forward. So this is out, pretty simple. Take a moment to wipe that down, that area down. I took a road trip this weekend and I'm finding all sorts of bugs and things that found their way in everywhere. All right, getting back to the point, I'll roll my carbon fiber in, let it sit. I'm gonna start my lower. I don't have them on this, but I might consider, I'm gonna pull this fender off again and we're gonna do these reflectors. I'm taking these reflectors off. And I might consider going to my local hardware store and getting a small fiber washer. And not that, I don't think it's more of a precautionary, but rather than clearing the carbon fiber, even if it was custom paint, I'd run a small fiber washer just so we can ensure its quality stays. All right, we've got one bolt to go on the other side, but overall the CMT logo looks good. And other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot more we have to go over. I have one more bolt. I'll get that tightened up. Use your own diligence to figure out your Torx specs. I don't want you to damage your fender. You can get those Torx specs out of your BMW Motorrad manual or reach out to your BMW dealer. Nonetheless, you can hand tighten that and you're gonna still be safe. That's not a safety item necessarily other than your fender coming off. But if you get all four torqued with that fiber washer, you should be good. None of those bolts came out with any kind of thread locker on it, so I didn't put them back on with it. That should be a wrap. I will leave in the description ordering information and site information for them. I'm excited to continue with this project. Next up is, like we talked about, we're gonna do fork tube covers, tail lever protector, and then lower triple clamp cover. I really appreciate you being here like always. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, life's rolling on and go ride motorcycles. Thanks so much.